first story is the DLA to migration. The Department of Work and Pensions is beginning a controversial migration project to reassess the remaining 150,000 working age disabled people still receiving disability living allowance, and obviously going to move to personal independence payment. Disability campaigners have severely criticised the move, warning that the process could be life-threatening for vulnerable claimants. Well, I knew this was going to happen, didn't we? I mean, to be honest, well, depending on how many claims there are, weren't they meant to be migrating people years and years and years ago? I mean, look, like I've said before, this whole welfare agenda, reform agenda, that's never ending, because it is never ending. I mean, it will end where there's no more benefits, let's be honest. That's when it's going to end, or when there's permanent war, universal income comes in, and then they'll scrap it all together, and specifically for disabilities, because they'll claim, well, universal income is universal income. There might be a little bit of an uplift, but I think there'll still be, if that does come in, then they'll be the same old arguments. But, look, is there something to be fearful of? We've seen in the past, we've seen currently, that there probably is. They probably are using it as an angle to reassess everybody that's migrating from DLA, which they'll argue that it's a fair process because that's what you should do. But yeah, probably there's a reason for people to be concerned. But we'll see. We'll see, because also that comes alongside the news of obviously the Tim's review saying that the PIIP isn't fit for purpose. Now, what that means going forward, we don't know, because those against it will say that it hasn't been fit for purpose for a number of years because of the increased numbers on PIIP, and those who are saying that it's an unfair process will then argue, yeah, again, it's unfit for purpose, but they will argue that, they're arguing the same thing for different reasons. So, look, we'll wait to see. Or does it mean that generally some people will have their benefits reduced or cut completely? We can argue maybe if they're legacy benefits, but we don't know yet. And we don't know if then that will go into infants already, and they'll get health element, because you imagine that a lot of those long-term benefit claimants will be over the age of 21. Is it 21 where they were getting health benefit? So I think they'll fall into the older category, and therefore who knows, they might get any uplift of another benefit too. But look, is it a way of reducing? It always is. You always got 80% of corporate. There always got ways of reducing things. Even with the new Burnham Revolution in number 10, he's got there's a lot of hefty promises being made for the moment, and they've got to be costed for and paid for. And he's under pressure to kind of find the magic bullet, and also he's talked about social care and reform social care, so the money's got to come from somewhere, so you've got to think, and he's got to balance that out, arguably, with in terms of approval ratings, everything else, with, within his own party, to be fair, because, there's time a coup in the cabinet, so it's a balance, there's, old Labour, new Labour, or soft Labour, soft left, and then, the Starmerites, or the old Blairites, or whatever you want to call them. So, he's got to balance that out in terms of, looking to be serious, and looking to be serious means not looking, unfortunately, to on the left. So I think there is still going to be some harsh days ahead for benefit claimants, and I do think, it does mean cuts. How severe those cuts will be, we don't know, but in terms of this migration, I think there will be a number of casualties, unfortunately. However, maybe later down the line with the reforms, if people used to be reformed, a contribution. It's not going to be complete, you know. They'll argue it's unsustainable to have no contributions whatsoever. So people got to pay something, but if you cut benefits, then even though people are clearly in need of social care, then you defeat the object somewhat. So, there's got to be some balance there. And I think we'll wait to see what the plan is. Well, they should be. We haven't been for God knows how long, but I have some faith. It's a new day. It's a new Burnham day, apparently. Not that I have that much faith. People that if you can't have faith at this point, when are you going to have faith? It's the 7th Prime Minister in God knows how many years. What? 7 in 7, or whether it is 7 in 7 or 7 in 10? 7 in 10. So, you've got to have faith at some point. So we'll wait and see. But hopefully,